Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Thanks for popping in today to watch as I create this one-page layout. I am inspired by a page map that I saw on Pinterest, and I will leave that information below. So I have a couple of things already pulled here. I'm going to be scrapping this picture of my two daughters, and then I'm using some paper from the new Close to My Heart collections, both the mix-in pack from May and June and the Hillside Cottage paper collection, which is just so pretty. And then this here is a zip strip that I pulled off one of the papers. I can't remember which one from one of those two packs. And like I said, I've already kind of gathered a couple of papers and cut them down. I have a basic idea of what I want to do based on that sketch, but I just kind of had to pull it all together. So while I am cutting the pennant out of this piece of pink paper here, this flamingo pattern paper, I just want to apologize that the bottom part of my video is cut off. I thought that I had my camera sitting the right direction, set up in the right direction when I was filming, and I even double checked it, but apparently I still had it wrong. So I kind of cut off the bottom of a lot of the things that I'm doing here. And so I edited some of the video out where you can't really see what is going on, but I had already gone to the trouble of recording it, so I thought, you know what, I'll just carry on and make the video anyway. So I apologize about that. So right here what I'm doing is just edge distressing some of my pattern papers. It's one of my favorite things to do on my layouts and my cards. And I'm just kind of matching the color of the paper to my ink pad. So that yellow pattern piece is in canary, that pink piece is flamingo. And so I was just using the ink pads of both of those colors. And then for this white and black heart pattern paper, which is from the mix-in pack, I just edge distress that in black. And I don't know if you guys can see it, probably not in the video, but that black and white heart pattern paper is really pretty. The white part is actually a really subtle wood grain, and then it's got the black hearts on it. And so it's really pretty in person. And I highly recommend that you check that collection out. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of start arranging where I'm going to be putting all of this. Like I said, I have a basic idea because of that sketch that I'm working off, although my layout ends up looking a little bit different from the original inspiration. And I also want to use, this is another zip strip from a different piece of paper, and I wanted to bring in that black somewhere else because I've got the black in the hearts, and then I've got the black in the zip strip across the top of my page. And I just kind of wanted to work it in somehow. And originally I thought it was going to go vertically on the right-hand side of the page. But as I am fussing with it, I actually end up putting it across the bottom. And I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. And then the other piece of black that I want to bring in that I end up figuring out how to do this is there is a pattern paper in the Hillside Cottage collection that is really pretty. It's black, and it also has like a wood grain look to it, even though it's a pattern paper. Up close and personal, like over the top of the pattern, you can see like a wood grain look to it. It's really pretty. So what I'm going to do before I start adhering all of that down is just add some splatters from my black shimmer brush. And I should have probably done that first to give it a few minutes to dry before moving on. But the good thing is that if ever you're splattering with the shimmer brush, it does dry pretty quickly unless you get some giant gobs on there, which I really didn't. I kept my splatters pretty small. And so now I'm going to go ahead and start adhering my papers down. Now, as I'm putting adhesive onto my papers, I am not going right up to the very edge because at this point I'm not entirely sure yet how I am going to be embellishing this page. Sorry about my head there. And so I wanted to make sure that I had some room to kind of stick something underneath if I decided I needed to do something like that. So I was trying to be conscious of not putting adhesive right up to the very, very edge of my papers, but kind of keeping it in just a little ways so that I could tuck at least a little something if necessary. And as it turns out, I do manage to work in that black pattern piece from the Hillside Cottage paper collection into like a pennant that looks like it's a strip going across behind that yellow piece. And so I was able to kind of just slide in two little sides on the right and the left because I had glued it down so carefully like that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down with the picture and that really pretty black heart and the white paper on the wood grain there. And like I said, this is where I'm going to come back, I think, and yep, I'm going to fuss with that zip strip. Like I said, I knew I wanted to use it. I thought I knew how I wanted to use it, but I just wasn't quite sure how to make it work. I don't know, do you guys ever do this when you're putting a layout together and you have something in your head, but it doesn't really end up quite being what you saw in your head, but hopefully it ends up being better, right? I actually liked this better than having it on the side, which was what I was originally thinking. And so as I'm messing with it, I'm going to go ahead and lay that down across the bottom of that canary piece. And it's just slightly longer than that piece of paper, so it's kind of sticking out on either side. And I did edge distress that with my black ink. So here's where, like I said, I really was bound and determined to find a way to work in this black pattern piece because it is so pretty, and I wanted to draw in that black a little bit more. Plus that pattern piece has a lot of the other colors in it. It's got the yellow and the pink and the black, obviously. So it was a good way just to kind of tie it all together. So rather than using a big strip, I was trying to conserve some paper. I cut it in half, that strip that I cut, and then I just used the two little pieces to slide underneath. So it gives the illusion of going all the way behind that canary piece of pattern paper. And then I will edge distress that in black ink as well, although you can't really see it too much because it's already a black piece of paper. But up close, like I said, in person, you can see some of those little details and touches on the paper that I think just give it that something extra. And the paper by itself is so gorgeous that it really doesn't need anything else to make it pop. But it does kind of help, I think, to edge distress with those different colors. So like I said, I'm just going to get those tucked behind, and then I'm pretty much going to be ready to start thinking about some of my embellishments. Now, as I am getting ready to put those little black pieces in, I am going to pull out my T-square ruler, and a little trick that I have started using is I take some washi tape and I use it to tape my layout down to my Versamat. And then that way my page is not kind of shifting or moving around when I'm using my T-ruler, and I can make sure that it is staying actually straight when I'm trying to do that. And the nice thing about this background paper that I am using, it is one of the pages from the Mix-In collection for May and June from Close to My Heart, but it's a grid pattern anyway, and so that was really helpful when I was putting some of those other pieces of paper down because it's already got lines on it, and so I was able to just kind of look at that and make everything straight, and so that was really helpful. All right, so as part of the Mix-In pack, there is this one page that has it's all double-sided paper, but the one side of one of the papers has a bunch of different tags and things of that nature on it. And so in the sketch that I'm working off of on Pinterest, it does show where there is a tag up in the top left corner. And I thought, well, that's perfect because I have this paper that has all of these matching colors in it. And it's full of tags. So I just kind of looked over the paper and I thought, well, which tag do I think kind of matches what I've got going on best here? And there is one that is black with white hearts, which I really liked because then it was just the opposite of that other piece of paper that I had behind my photo there. Now off camera, I've just used an old die cut. It's a scallop border right there. And I have just die cut a couple of pieces out in toffee cardstock, which is the color of the brown that is in this paper collection. And I've just done a couple of those because they're about 6 inches each. And then I've just glued them across the top of my page right there underneath that zip strip because you can see that there is a scalloped border in my sketch that I'm working from. And then I'm just going to take that tag. I cut the bottom part of it off and then I punched a hole in where the tag part with the string is and put some twine in it as well. So I got that attached to the page. All right, so as part of this Hillside Cottage collection, there is also, you can buy a bunch of embellishments. These are wooden embellishments, but they also have some black acrylic pieces in them. And I hadn't really sorted through them before, so I just dumped all of them out and kind of played and looked around a little bit. And I thought, okay, I want to use some of the flowers. I want to use one of the hearts. And there was this cute little goose that's kind of like looking backwards, and you can't really see him because, like I said, my video got cut off on the bottom. I'm really sorry about that. And then there's a cute little rabbit. So I just kind of pulled a couple of those. And then I went to the sticker sheet for this paper pack, and I started looking for what kind of stickers can I use that go along with my layout here. I end up pulling 2 of the heart stickers that are that flamingo color, and putting them in some different places. And then I also pulled this little tag right here, super cute. It says true story. And I thought that that was perfect to be my title, actually. I'm gonna let that be my title. Because this is a picture of my daughters, and what they were doing when I snapped this photo is my older daughter was reading a book to my younger daughter. So I thought that was really cute that it said true story, and then I'm going to include that in my journaling that, you know, true story, you guys were actually getting along and one of you was reading to the other. So I love that. All right, I kind of look around the sticker sheet and I try to make a few other things work, but really it's just going to be that little tag for my title and 2 of the pink hearts, those flamingo hearts that I just put down there. And that's about it. Now up in that top cluster there where that tag is, I felt like it needed some pink because there wasn't anything up there. It was just all the toffee in the black color. And so I just took a little scrap of that same pattern paper that I have down on my page and I tore it. And then I stuck it over top of that tag, and then I put my flower down over top of it. So just to kind of draw a little bit of the pink up there, and then I really just have my 3 areas of my embellishments, cluster embellishments. All right, so what I am working on right now, which again, I apologize, you can kind of see a little bit of it, is I am gluing down all of these shapes. Now, I will tell you that these particular shapes are pretty cool because they are wood, but they do have that black acrylic. So the shapes have like other shapes cut out of them. So for example, in my rabbit shape right there, there is a flower in the rabbit. So you can either pull that flower out and have that empty piece inside of it, or you can match it with the black acrylic. And so you can kind of double up the wood and the acrylic shapes together to create a little bit of a contrast, or use them separately, you know, so it's a really cool little embellishment bag because you can use it in so many different ways. So I was kind of wondering, how am I going to go about gluing this down? Because, you know, even though you tuck it in, they're kind of loose and everything. So what I ended up doing was just gluing the bigger size shape down. And then if it was something that had a little piece to go inside of it, then I would just take my glue like this right here, and I would put a dab of glue inside that hole. And then for a lot of them, I was using my tweezers because they were these like tiny little pieces to go in the center of the flowers, for example. And I would just push that shape in and then let it sit on that little dot of glue that I had put inside. So at first, like I said, I was a little bit worried how to figure out how to glue some of those embellishments down, but it ended up being really easy. And so that was just the trick that I figured out and that I would recommend to you if you are also working with these shapes. All right, so like I said, I really wanted to try to use some other stickers from the sticker sheet, but nope, I think that's going to be it. So there you can see how all that came together. And again, I apologize that the bottom part of my video got cut off. You can hopefully see it a little bit better here in some of these still shots. So this is new paper that is coming out in the May and June catalog for Close to My Heart. I will leave a couple of links below. If you like what you see, I would be happy to help you out. All right, guys, thanks for stopping by and watching. I hope you have a crafty day. Bye.